Hello. It's Friday, July 26th, and this video segment I call My Perspective and Comment. And tonight we're going to do things a little different than the normal video segments. It's going to be kind of a cornucopia of things that I will be discussing. Okay, folks, I know it's low budget here, and the sound effects I have to create myself. But did you get what that was? Well, it was the air coming out of the Democrat after they heard Robert Mueller testify on Wednesday over 5-6 hours. Folks, what a show. And it just goes to show, over the last 2+ years, all we heard was the Mueller report, when it comes out, Trump is guilty. He's going away. His presidency is over. We know that in that report, Mueller is going to find collusion. And we heard that drumbeat over 2 years. And now, 3 weeks ago, we heard, the promotion. Oh, Mueller is coming to testify. He's going to be here. Nadler's up there promoting, oh yes, when we hear from Nadler, he's going to give us what we need to start impeachment. We can't believe what Barr said. He's a liar. So, the big day comes. And what happens? What does Robert Mueller say? I can't answer that. Folks, one big dud. They were hanging their hat on Robert Mueller and the show. That's what these Democrats wanted, to have a show that the American people could watch and say, oh yes, Robert Mueller, yeah, we do see collusion there. But that didn't happen. So now, folks, it's time. It's over. Put that Mueller report away now, and let's get back and start doing your job. How about making and writing some legislation that's going to help the American people? Time to move on. Now, I'd like to talk a bit about our president. This week was not just the Mueller testimony, but we also had something that did get moved through Congress here, and that was the raising of the debt ceiling and more spending. $2 trillion over 10 years. Now, folks, I'm supporting this president. He's done well over the last 2 years. In fact, he's doing it primarily on his own. And we'll talk a little bit about that a little later. But right now, it's not... I can support my president and be critical in some areas. And folks, this area, we need to speak up. Now, Trump listens to primarily two categories or two groups. He listens to talk radio and some personalities on, say, the Fox News channel, Hannity, for instance. But he also strongly listens to the American people and those voters that are voting for him and that will be voting in that 2020 election to move him forward in the agenda that he's tried to forge through. But to help this president, we need to let him know what the people are feeling and what direction we want this country to go. Because ultimately, Donald Trump works for us. So I want to do my best to say, hey, wait a minute, Mr. President, this is a far left, again, pushing the needle. And I kind of would want to say to him, look, these Democrats and these leftists have said wrongly that spending, we can spend our way into prosperity. Now hear that again now, folks. Now these are leftists talking. We can spend our way to prosperity. That's wrong, and I don't believe that that's where Trump is. But when he's working closely with the Democrats to get this bill passed, and I know, kicking the can down the road so this won't be a election issue, but the American people are going to be behind you, Mr. President, when you stand on conservative principles. And I believe this was a mistake, and we need to let our president know when he's veering off into an area that will weaken America, not strengthen America. That's what we want, is a strong America, and keeping America strong and great. Now the other area, being a little critical with Donald Trump is one thing, but he's doing so much. But what I get frustrated, folks, with is that he's doing it all on his own. Now, Mitch McConnell, he seems to only be good for writing no smoking legislation and touting that. And yes, Mitch has moved forward the judges, but what else? Now, we can't leave out Paul Ryan. Now, Paul Ryan's gone, but he was there in the beginning, the first year of Donald Trump. And I'll tell you, these two, Ryan and McConnell, almost seemed like they were in the resistance movement because they weren't moving anything. And these two were the very politicians that were talking almost daily, weekly, when Barack Obama was the president, regarding we need the House, we need the Senate, we definitely need the presidency, and we will. What did they promise? Health care, securing the border, economic improvements. And what happened? As soon as they had all three houses and they could move the ball forward, nothing happened. The ball was dropped. We could have done so much over those 2 years. So I lay that right at the leadership that dropped the ball there. But I want to point out that we need to, you and I as voters, we need to have a strategic plan this game gets played all the time. When it's an election season, they promise the world. And they campaign like strong conservatives. And as soon as they get elected, guess what? There's a whole mind change. And what happens? When the Democrats are in power, they're strong. When the GOP has the House, Senate, and presidency, they don't seem to be able to pass anything. So I feel that we really need to be strategic, because what happens with the game is if we say we need to vote this rhino out, then you'll hear the political class say, no, you can't do that because we'll lose a seat. But folks, what do we have now when you've got Republicans voting along with Democrats? And I want to point an example out. When it came to that health care, John McCain steps up to cast his vote, and he does this. Now, if we had, I mean, it shouldn't have come down to one senator. But I want to name two senators that maybe there needs to be a change, that it seems to be consistent. These two definitely are ones that have hurt us, conservatives. And that is Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski. Now, if those two had voted with us for health care, for repeal, it wouldn't have mattered if John McCain had voted down, because we would have had two more votes and it would have passed, and we would have moved the ball forward. And there's a good chance that we would not have lost the House, because we were moving forward with what the American people want. So when it comes time for voting for candidates, we need to really be selective and look for those that aren't just giving us lip service during an election season. Now, that's my perspective and comments for this evening.